guys, Miss Sarah here to present another lesson. Once I get my camera situated. Today we're going to go over multiplication by a fraction. So we'll start with a whole number times a fraction, and then we'll move on to a fraction multiplied by a fraction. For this lesson, you may want to use the printable fraction pieces that are on the classroom drive. If you don't have them, you can always follow along with the video. You do want a piece of paper. It can be blank or it can be matte paper like this one. And I brought along my colored pencils just to have a little more fun with this today. So as always, I'm going to put the name of the lesson at the top of my paper here. So I'm just going to write multiplication by a fraction. Multiplication by a fraction. Okay. You can put your name on it somewhere if you'd like. That would help me when you upload it online, but you don't have to. I'm just gonna put my initials up here. Okay. And let's start with a problem. Let's start with something like 4 times 2/3. Okay, so I'm gonna write that first problem on my paper here. I'll put a 1 so that I know that's my first one. Okay, and then I'm gonna write my 4 nice and big so I know it's a whole number. Times, what did I say, 2/3? 2/3 equals. Okay, well, I'm going to put my paper to the side for just a moment. Let's think about this with the material. I have to make a little room here. So if I have 4 holes, this is always tricky to do on camera. There we go, 4 holes. And I want to multiply that times 2/3. Well, what does that mean? What I like to do is think about multiplication in terms of how many times I take something. So if I have 4 holes, I'm taking those 4 holes 2/3 of a time, which means I'm taking each of them 2/3 of a time, which means I have to divide each of these whole pieces into thirds to be able to work with them. So let's hope I have enough. Okay. And online, there are 2 sets of fraction pieces for you to print out. There are ones that have the labels, and then there's the more challenging set without the labels, requiring you to visually discriminate what each fraction is. Okay, so we have each of our 4 holes divided into thirds. Now my multiplication problem is 4 times 2/3, or 4 taken 2/3 of a time. So from each one of these, I'm going to take 2/3. How do I want to do this for you guys? Okay, so I took each of those 4 holes 2/3 of a time. And now, if I put all of that together, which is what I'm doing when I'm looking for my answer in multiplication, I have 2 holes and 2/3. If you were to write that as an improper fraction before reducing it to a mixed number, it would be written as, we have 3, 6, 2/3, that's 8/3. Just want to show you that. right? But the simplest form would be its mixed number form, because that is an improper fraction when the numerator is larger than the denominator. So I'll put another equal sign and put my 2 wholes and 2 thirds. Let's try another one with a whole number. I'm going to put these pieces aside. And later on, along with this lesson, I'll put up some charts that help remind you how to do this for your follow-up work, in case you need the assistance. Now let's do something like, let's do 5 times 1/4, or 5 taken 1/4 of a time. So for this, I'll need 5 of those wholes. Okay, I'll put it over here. And I'm taking these 1/4 of a time. So you guys know what I'm going to do here. I'm going to make sure each of my wholes is broken up into the 4ths family. Bear with me here, have some patience. Okay. Still wholes, right? Because you have 4 fourths in each of them. Haven't done much with them yet. It's weird not having you guys in front of me to ask questions or help me out. But hopefully this will not last much longer. Oh, hopefully I have enough of these fourths. Yay. Oh, and you can see them all lovely. So our multiplication problem is 5 times 1/4. So from each of these 5 wholes, I'm going to take 1/4. Get rid of the rest. Well, as you can see, I'm left with 5 fourths. But notice the numerator is larger than the denominator. Improper fraction alert. We don't allow those. So we must simplify it and see how many wholes we can make out of our pieces. Well, we know 4 fourths makes 1 whole, and then we have that other 1/4 tagging along. Okay. I don't know which way it's going to show you in the video, but whole number always comes first. So we're going to write our big 5. Oh, sorry, big 1. Oh my gosh. 1 and 1/4. Don't mind my scribble. 1 and 1/4. So you might notice after these 2 problems that when we multiply something by a fraction, the answer is actually a number smaller than what we started with. Something to think about as we move on to multiplying a whole number. A fraction times a fraction. I'll start a new video for that one.